welcome to the Hogs Happy Hour here on the Four Star Sports Media Network. So, had Coach Wilson. Hope he's awake now. Had to go wake him up. So, uh, and to Jason, I say, "What's up, brother?"
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
But so glad glad y'all are with us. It's been a whirlwind. We had a special episode on Monday, and here we're back at our normal time right here. So just give y'all's thoughts on I guess the past 24 hours, the entrance that was Coach Cal last night.
Special teams, special
Players.
player. What is it? Special plays?
Yes.
Something like that. My kid. Listen. I coached over the weekend, and I swear to you, my kids said that phrase 350 times from the dugout.
Oh yeah, in the hallways of a middle school on a Tuesday.
Tuesday.
That's all you hear. That's all you hear.
But I think Coach Cal did a really good job in his press conference. I think he hit everything that he needed to say as far as giving a lot of credit to former coaches that were the Razorbacks. A special thanks to Eddie Sutton and the relationship he had with Eddie Sutton. Considering Eddie Sutton had ties to both programs, obviously, and then a special shout out to former players. I could be wrong. I think he brought up even Joe Klein. And I don't know if I think Sidney Moncrief might have even been there. So I think he did a pretty good job. He said all the right things, which you would expect. You would expect a guy like Coach Calipari. May have to get used to saying that.
Or Coach Cal.
Coach Cal. You would expect a guy with that much experience to know how to work the media. And kind of excited to see where the program goes from here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think that first press conference was, perfect. Other than he did not call the Hogs, which we'll let it slide.
Oh well.
I know Bob Holt. He was ready with the questions.
Yes, he was.
He was a little excited.
Yeah. I think it was you, Jason, that sent me that picture of something about it was like
The
Goldberg.
Yeah.
It's like entering the arena with all the pyrotechnics and stuff. But
I will say, the fans definitely showed up for that press conference.
yeah, it's more fans than most men will see at a basketball game.
Oh yeah, that's more than whole USC will hold.
Yeah.
So I was watching. I've been watching different, not just the one you sent me today, but I've been listening to different podcasts and different YouTube channels of Kentucky. I don't know, I don't want to call them fans, but those guys who do what we do. And the question you sent me, where they asked, will those recruits follow Coach Cal to Arkansas? And they said something along the lines of, "It's Arkansas. You got to really want to live there." And I was thinking, I said to you, and I was thinking in the back of my mind, where does Kentucky rank in terms of do you want to live there compared to Arkansas? I don't feel like it's just much different.
Yeah. Well, it said here's that clip that you're talking about. I got it pulled up here. Hopefully it works. I don't know. It wasn't working earlier.
None of the recruits will be here. None of the players currently on the team. I think between me and you, there was only 2 currently on the team that even had a shot to come back anyway. I think DJ Wagner might have come back, and I think Z might have come back. The rest of them, I think, were gone.
Do you assume that they're all going to follow him to Arkansas also?
No, I think some of them will, but I think some of them might not. I think, you got to want to live in Arkansas.
What's in Kentucky?
Well, it really sounded like he was about to cry there for a second.
Yeah. He's like, they might not.
Well, here's the deal. I do not, and we've already said it. If Arkansas players wanted to follow Musselman to USC, I've got nothing to say. I by all means, go play at USC. Okay, I'm not going to make little snide comments about players that want to follow Coach Cal to Arkansas, or if they don't want to follow Coach Cal to Arkansas. I don't think it matters. So you know what it really sounds like, Blake? It sounds to me as if someone is really hurt that they're in the situation that they're in, because right now they can't find a coach. But I want to say this, that although I do not like the way Musselman left, I cannot deny the fact that Coach Musselman is a really good coach. Yep. He has proved himself. Mm-hmm. And I can't say anything negatively about him in that regard, that if kids want to play for him, they're going to go play for a good coach. Now, is he different than John or Coach Cal? Yeah, he's much different style-wise. Am I surprised that kids want to keep going play for Coach Cal? No, I'm not surprised. He's proved every year that he can continue to go out and get the top recruits. Now, has he produced? He's been in the tournament. He produced more than Arkansas did last year.
Yep.
Well, I think nowadays, you don't go to a school for the school. You go essentially for the coach and the money. Coach Cal's been proven to send players to the NBA, and ultimately that's what most of these kids want. They want to play in the NBA. Eric Musselman has done the same thing.
Of course, yeah, I would say so. And they were talking on the radio this morning. It's like, would Malik Monk be welcomed back by Arkansas fans? And I think, I'm gonna be honest with you, I think the answer is no. I don't think he would be welcomed back.
Well, Coach Cal said he's coming.
Well,
he said he talked to Malik and Marcus last night, and he said Mama's cooking me a dinner, so he's gonna go visit family, the Monk family here soon. So
must be a business decision.
No. But here's another clip from this is from DeMarcus Cousins. Okay, if you know Kentucky or NBA, you know who DeMarcus Cousins is.
Boogie Cousins.
Yeah, so this is what he had to say about Coach Cal.
Is going to get a real taste of reality moving forward.
Amen.
We've seen this movie before with Cal. Where he goes becomes the hot spot. I put Cal and Deion Sanders in the same category. Deion has the prime effect. It's the same thing with Calipari. Arkansas will now be the hot spot. Arkansas will now have the #1 recruiting classes coming in every single year. Arkansas will be full of celebrities. Good luck finding a replacement for Cal, because it's going to be very, very hard. Dan Hurley's not going. Jay Wright is living his best life.
Yes, he is.
Half the work, even more money. He's not leaving. I also saw something about Brad Stevens. You're out your mind if you think he's leaving his position.
Nope.
And then I saw something about Billy Donovan. It's going to be hard to convince any coach that has been to the ultimate level to then take a step down to go to the collegiate level. And it's not the collegiate level of old. This is a brand new monster. To think that it's going to be a line around the door of coaches that want to not only coach at this level, and it's 10 times the amount of work. You now have to meet this standard of being a championship team every single year. What we experienced in those 15 years of Cal being there, we will never experience again.
Boogie Cousins speaking the truth. And Kentucky fans may not want to accept it, but that's straight from the mouth of a former Kentucky player who goes above that of a Kentucky fan. We're talking about someone who's had the jersey on, who understands the effect that Coach Cal had on the program as a whole. The school, let's go above the program. Let's go about the school. Kentucky, everybody talked about Kentucky. Even when Kentucky had a new roster of freshmen every year, Kentucky was expected to be a top 10 program. Am I wrong about that?
No, you're right.
No.
You're right.
Okay. I appreciate what Boogie said about Arkansas will now be the hot spot. I'll believe it when I see it. You know what I mean?
Pump the brakes there.
Yeah, right. I'll believe it when I see it. And I'm not saying he's wrong. I'm just saying I'll believe it when it happens. But we've got a lot of work to do, and I appreciate what Cal said. Cal said we got a lot of work to do, and he ain't wrong. We have a lot of work to do, and Arkansas isn't revered the way it was revered in the 90s. And maybe we can be again, but Arkansas basketball is just not in the same breath as Kentucky basketball when it comes to the way we competed in the 90s. So a lot of work. a lot of work. And I'm not naive enough to think that we're going to be a top 25 program next year. If we are, great, but I'm not going to hold us to that level. Coach Cal will get us to that level. I believe that. But pump the brakes. You're right, Blake.
Well, I think ultimately your goal next year is to make the tournament. I mean, with as much he has to replace in a short amount of time, you can't judge him off this first season.
Yeah, I think what would help Arkansas fans is if Coach Cal made it to the second weekend of the tournament.
Yeah,
Kind of get that monkey off his back that's been there lately. But a moment that stood out to me last night was he was looking in the crowd, and he saw Kamani Johnson, but he didn't know him as Kamani Johnson. He knew him as Jakari. I think his name's Jakari Johnson's brother. Well, if you don't know, Coach Cal coached Kamani Johnson's brother, Jakari, at Kentucky, and he's like, "Hey, there's Jakari's brother. How's mom doing? Tell mom I said hey." He's all about these relationships with these recruits. He's not just trying to get them to the NBA. He truly cares about them.
no, that's one thing I did learn about him during that press conference. It looks like he actually cares about the students. He cares for the well-being. He, brought up his wife being there, their mom from away from home, and I mean, I think that says a lot about him.
And I'll tell you this, if you watch enough NBA basketball, or if you've watched NBA basketball over the last 10 to 15 years, DeMarcus Cousins is one of the most outspoken athletes to have ever suited up in the NBA. Whether it was when he played for the Kings, when he was with the Warriors, wherever, he was picking up technical. DeMarcus Cousins speaks his mind. So if DeMarcus Cousins felt like Coach Cal was all talk and it was just a fake, you would have heard it from DeMarcus Cousins' mouth. He would have told you that he was all talk and no giddy up. But DeMarcus Cousins, if he has good things to say about you, the reality is it's probably true.
All right. Well, Coach Cal, he also said last night that he talked to the team, and there is no team. So, just kind of compare Muss to him. What's going to be the difference in recruiting compared to the two coaches here?
Well, go ahead, Jason. You may already know what you want to say.
Well, I think he's still going to go after high school recruits. He's probably going to split between high school recruits and the portal with players that have been seasoned. I think he understands, what it is to have a freshman. To hopefully stay within your program for years to come, and trying to find, players that have been in the portal, been at different schools, there for leadership. I think ultimately that's going to be more split than we have seen with Eric Musselman. Although Muss last 2 seasons has been taking a couple freshmen. But one thing that I think Calipari will have to do is you got to find some Arkansas player, like Arkansas-born player, to play on that team. He has to rebuild this relationship with all these high school athletic coaches. I think Musselman, that's one bridge he did kind of burn in his tenure here. So hopefully Cal can do some rebuilding with those relationships.
Yeah, I think obviously Coach Cal is going to be, as far as differences between him and Muss, he's going to hit the high school ranks a lot harder, and he's going to use the portal very wisely. He's going to hit the portal to fill specific needs. Now, here's where I think a major difference between Muss and Cal is going to be. I think Muss recruited athletes. Now, you get a guy like Anthony Black. Anthony Black was a basketball player, but I think kids like Jordan Walsh are athletes. Now, really good athletes. I think Cal will be recruiting kids that can come in and shoot the ball. That more, like more polished. I look at kids like Leighton Blocker, and I think that they had a lot of growing to do. I think Cal's going to find kids who are a lot more polished and that fit his system, as compared to kids that have to that can't get by without going hard the entire game. Like playing for 40 minutes, you can't get away with being lazy. Leighton Blocker was not a shooter, and we knew that he wasn't a shooter, but he played hard defense. Bay Fall never saw the floor, but with guys like Cal, you just never know about that rotation. Never know how he develops players. He looks like he develops players a lot differently than Muss, though.
So, yeah, it looks like he actually develops them, and unlike Muss, who really didn't develop. And Cal, being in the SEC longer than Eric Musselman is great because he knows what it takes to win in this league. He knows you need an actual big man down there. You need some grown men down there.
Yeah, and I think he'll get several.
Mm-hmm.
I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see what he does with this last month of portal.
Yeah.
Less than a month.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt already that he's already been in contact. Obviously, we don't see it. I don't see it any posted anywhere, but he's been in contact with several players. Yeah. And it'll be a normal thing. It's amazing to me that it's been a normal thing the last 4 or 5 years to have 4 or 5 star basketball players come to Arkansas consistently. Yeah. And if you know Musk could do it, make no mistake about it. John Calipari, he can do it too.
Yeah, I think I don't know if it was either on the Hog Plus podcast or in his press conference. He said he wants a good mix of freshmen. You got your group of freshmen, you got your group of your mid-level, your sophomores and juniors, maybe transfers or they've been at your school, and then you have a couple seniors. So he kind of wants a good mix and not just a all freshman team like we're used to seeing Coach Cal have.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah.
What are some challenges for him? Obviously, building a roster is one of them, but just what other challenges do you see for him? Now, for me, obviously, it's roster, and it is to continue this NIL. It's rumored that maybe he has about $6 million to play with, but is that $6 million is it $6 million every year, or is it how's all that going to work? And getting some great assistant coaches to come help him. He said he likes to be at Arkansas because he can just coach. He don't have to worry about NIL because he said that's already taken care of. But it's just, what do y'all think some challenges would be?
Maybe I've been thinking about this. How much fire does he have left? You know what I mean? His age. I'm not saying he's an old man by any means, but the wear and tear that comes with coaching at this level every single year. I remember just coaching high school ball, how tired I was all the time, and that was there was no recruiting, right? There was none of that stuff, and that was with so many other assistants doing the same things that I was doing, and we were just all tired all the time. So the age and how much can he give? In the last, I don't know how much longer he'll coach, 5 to 10 years, maybe long. Who knows? Just never know. And then the other thing is, can he find a way to be more consistent in the tournament? So that's really the only two for me.
I mean, one concern I have is not with Calipari himself. It's the fans. I mean, he has one bad season. I mean, everybody is just rabid off.
We're back.
That's how can he handle that criticism? Because you got to think it's an entire state. It's not just one location. It's the entire state coming after you.
Yeah. And Arkansas fans, we're ruthless. We are. We're ruthless.
Yep. With plane tracking and everything else.
Well, let's not forget somebody burned Brandon Allen's truck one year.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
think it was
Speaking of Blake, where were you that night?
I was buying some charcoal. I was going to fire up the grill, but I think I fired up something else. But
Okay. All right. Well, don't say anything else.
just I think Cal won. He won the press conference, so he did all that. He did everything he was supposed to do. That poor man, blessed Arkansas media. He got off the plane and he did a podcast. He did interviews. He did the whole Bud Walton Goldberg entrance, and then he went back and answered Bob Holt's questions. And at the end of it, he goes, "Is this it?" And he goes, "Good." 'Cause, I mean,
Well, I mean, he has a lot of roster spots to fill.
Yeah.
He needs to get to work.
and we say there's no team, but shout out to Lawson Blake. He's still there. He's still there. You can build a team around him.
Well, I don't know. Kyle said it was like, what, 3 people in there with him?
Yeah, it was rumored. There's
Devo.
He said they're in the portal, so rumor is Devo and Bayfall. That was the rumors. Some people said they saw them two at the press conference. So I don't know. We'll see. But all right, we are going to transition to more ACC talk. We are glad to have Dave Shumate back with us from Mach 10 Sports, and also, what's up, brother?
What do y'all think about the new? What do y'all think about y'all's new coach, man? New governor of the state of Arkansas.
Well, we're in a state of shock still a little bit. So we're excited though. I think we're all excited. We know what Coach Cat, what his resume says and what he can do, and I just said that if Eric Musselman could come into Arkansas and do what he's done the last several years, that I have no doubt in my mind that Coach Cal can come in and keep that success just rolling. So we're excited.
No, that's good. No, I think it's going to be a great hire. I think he's going to come in with a little bit more of a chip on his shoulder. I mean, shoot me, your place 15 years. I don't care if it's in athletics or just a job in general, as y'all know. I mean, I think there's naturally a little complacency comes in just being a human being.
Yeah. That was Blake was asking us like what were some concerns of ours, and one of mine was how much fire does he have left in him, and I said I don't think by any stretch that he's an old man, but he's not a young pup. But how much can he give to the University of Arkansas in his last let's say he coaches another 10 years in his last 10 years. How much can he give back to the university?
Yeah, no, you're 100% right on that. And it sounds like he doesn't have to do as much fundraising. Now, granted, I think some of that was his own fault at Kentucky when, when NIL really started. He'd been there 2 years. That's 13 years for him to have a chance to build relationships and I guess also burn bridges a little bit. Yeah. So I guess some of that's a little bit of his fault. But if he's coming into Fayetteville not having to worry about that takes a totally different thing off his plate as well.
I think there's an article from The Athletic that basically said when he made the comment, or I don't know if it was Stoops made the comment first, but when Cal said we're a basketball school, or that kind of started this divorce of a relationship.
Well, I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah,
they are a basketball school.
Yeah, I don't know how you take too much offense to that.
Yeah, but Stoops, I guess he didn't like it.
Stoops a pretty fiery guy too. I was reading something saying they actually got a lot. I think it was just kind of Stoops defending, I feel like I got to kind of say something. Essentially, just take a shot at my program's kind of meaningless to this athletics department. Is what you're kind of saying.
Yeah. It makes me wonder, the relationship that he has with the Tysons. How much did he even have to lobby to get this money that is supposedly coming to him through the NIL from these boosters? How many of these guys just said, "Hey, here it is," and how much did he have to work for it at Kentucky versus the moment he comes here? All they said was, "Hey, here it is."
What was that collective? He started that collective, and it was just like his donors of choice, wasn't it? At Kentucky, kind of deal.
Yeah, it was much different than already from the day one that he gets here, where he walks in and someone says, "Here's $6 million, do what you can with it."
Yeah.
That to me, is that a little more motivating to you to say, okay, if I don't have to work for it, sounds good to me.
Correct.
Now, Blake mentioned, is this like a one-time deal where you get $6 million, or is this going to be a yearly thing? We know this: the Tysons are billionaires. Okay, and then there are other guys. Apparently, it's word on the street is, Dave, that there are other people contributing towards this NIL fund, and I've heard that Jerry Jones is involved. It's just you're not hearing so much about him. And then there's the Waltons are involved a little bit,
Yeah.
Walmart, but
And
they're not
Stevens.
as vocal about it as the Tysons have been.
Yeah.
I gotta ask y'all, what's the what's kind of, were the rumors true about the whole deal with Musk kind of like having a rift with all the big money people towards the end?
Yeah.
What
Very
was
true.
it? Was he going back trying to ask for more after? And I guess they were kind of like, dude, you just signed one of the top portal classes, and we're not very good this year.
Yeah. So what it came down to is, it's very similar. It's very similar to football, Dave. Is the boosters. When you go to the well, right? And how many times can you go to the well before someone looks at the results and they say, "I'm not giving you any more money"?
Yeah.
And I think that's what it had come down to. Is football has struggled, and they've struggled to get support from NIL. And they poured a lot of money into the NIL this past year, and things didn't work out. And so if you're a booster, and they keep coming to you for, hey, can I get 2 million, 3 million, and things don't work out, eventually, as Blake has brought up before, eventually that well dries up, and they just say no. And Musselman is a very, very abrasive person.
Yeah.
I think, maybe not so much to his players and their personal lives, but like as far as business relations go, I think Musselman's a little different to deal with than maybe Coach Cal.
Yeah, I could see Musselman would be maybe come off a little more whiny, I guess, a little bit, or maybe a passive aggressive.
Maybe, and I don't know. I obviously not someone I
Yeah.
talked to, and I had nothing to do with me, but so maybe some players that he had been recruiting weren't fans of his. He's just different. He's different.
Yeah.
And I think most people recognize that his coaching style, he's a lot more animated on the sideline than probably 95% of coaches. And that can rub you the wrong way if you're a player, if you're a fan, especially if you're a referee. So,
Yeah, I feel like Muss is one of those guys, y'all saw it too, man. His track record shows he moves a lot. I feel like he's that guy that wears on after, like, it wears out his maybe it's the wrong way to put it, but wears his welcome out after 4 or 5 years a little bit. It's kind of like, all right, we're winning, like, but you're kind of a hard guy to root for unless you're the coach of my team. And like after a while, I don't know. It was just a weird deal for them this year. Hey, I know I'm on y'all's show, but I wanted to ask y'all, because my buddy just took a personnel job at Arkansas for football yesterday. So he's driving there, talking to him today. He's driving there today. Do y'all think the Cal hire, me and him were talking, hurts or helps Sam Pittman? Or do you think it's –
I talked to Blake about this Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember. I said Coach Cal being at Arkansas helps every single sports program at the University of Arkansas. Every sports program.
Man, well, this says the Hunts were going to start donating for NIL for football now.
Yeah, see, the Hunts have been donating money towards baseball. They've been pouring money into baseball, and they've been kind of ignoring the football program. And now I think this is kind of bringing Cal in. I think this has renewed the interest of all these people in the sports program as a whole. And the other reason why I think it helps all the other sports programs, is people now look at us. And I'll be honest with you, I'm throwing myself under the bus here, Dave. I have always looked at Arkansas as poor, pitiful Arkansas. We just can't afford to hire the big name coaches. What this has proved to every coach from the outside looking in is Arkansas has more money than people even realize.
No, I mean, you could not make a case. I think it's a fact. Yeah. I think Arkansas can win a national championship in every sport except football.
Yeah.
Now, y'all may disagree with me in the football.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean? Like, it's true. Like, I've had people argue with me. Like, I feel like, I guess extending the playoffs would be interesting. But I think every year, you look at rosters, depth. It's like, they're probably realistically can win the whole thing. 4 to 5 teams like that can go have a full season, get to the playoffs, get through that, and win the thing. I didn't even think TCU really. I know they made the national championship 2 years ago, but it's like prove my point a little bit. Like, they can't go through a whole season in a playoff and compete kind of with like their top 40 like Georgia. kind of feel the same way about Arkansas a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't
What
know
it
if they
takes-
can go win the whole thing, but they can make the playoffs certainly in a given year. But every other sport except football, I mean, Arkansas, hell, besides, I don't want to bring up a sore subject for y'all, but outside of a foul ball being dropped or
Right.
miscommunication, they should have won it in baseball. They
Well,
have won it in basketball.
That's
Track and field,
true.
all of them.
So with football, in my lifetime and probably all four of our lifetimes, there's been one guy that Arkansas has had that had Arkansas consistently at a highly competitive level, and that guy is now our offensive coordinator again, right? And we talked about this a while back.
Yeah.
Now he's not the same, but the reality is the reason why we were so good is, number one, a bunch of those guys that he had were Arkansas kids. And secondly, he knew how to draw every ounce of ability out of those kids on the offensive side of the ball to where it almost made up for our inefficiencies on defense. And we saw that for like 3 or 4 years, 2 or 3 years, something like that, with him at the helm. And the moment he walked away, I went to Alabama to watch Tyler Wilson play quarterback for us, and we were, I think, ranked number 5 at the time. We had him and Kobe Hamilton.
What was that? That's 2011, wasn't it?
Yes,
That was the same year LSU, Alabama, and Arkansas were all top 3 last year.
It was whatever year, the first year that John L. took over. When
12.
John L. Smith.
Yeah.
2012. So that's the year that he took over. I went down to Alabama, and we were supposedly a top 5 team. The moment that he walked away from that program, I went down there watching him play. We got absolutely throttled by Alabama. And that moment, I knew that Arkansas was we may never recover. So Bobby Petrino, I think he put us in a position where we could legitimately have won. I know this is crazy. Could legitimately have won and competed for a national championship.
No, I mean, dude, I remember that was my junior or senior year at Alabama. It was that last game. Arkansas would have been in the chance to have the national championship game if they just would have beat LSU that year, and they got up early, didn't they? Were they up like 13, 14 to nothing? Yeah. And then that's when Tyrann Mathieu was kind of doing his thing and kind of take over the game.
It takes a special coach, and it takes a special group that can be coached. But as far as like consistency goes, I think in reality, as a keeping things on the real as a football fan at Arkansas, is you expect Arkansas to be competitively in the mix every 10 to 15 years.
Like if I told y'all consistently you were winning 6 to 8 games a year, you'd be like, bring it on.
Brother, you wouldn't heard anything about Sam Pittman this year if he'd won 6.
If he's on average, bad year, 6 wins. Yeah. So what do y'all think this year? No, I keep asking y'all. What do y'all think? Y'all think 6 this year saves his job?
That Oklahoma State game is
that's great, dude. Yeah. That's all. It feels like they have to split the Oklahoma State Auburn games. Got to get. Well, I know, and at Auburn will be tough early in the year, but I think you can't go 0-2 in those.
No.
That'll be tough to bounce back from. Because I think after that, right? I'd have to look at. Is there a bye week between those 2 games, or is the bye week right after Auburn?
Yeah. I guess Jason's gonna look that up for us.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, as Arkansas fans, we're happy with 6 wins. I know it sounds bad,
So y'all think he's good? If he goes 6-6 this year, y'all think he's fine? He's fine.
He saves himself another year.
Yeah. Like you said, probably not the right word. He just moved on to a different.
Okay. We got a bye week after we play Tennessee, before we play LSU. And then
let's see. There's another one.
Let's see.
Look at him. He's trying to do math.
Dave. Try. Okay, here it is. After the Ole Miss game right before Texas.
All right, so they're in a bye week. Is it back to back, or do they play someone not great out of conference in between Oklahoma State and Auburn?
Yeah, we play UAB, I think.
Yeah.
All right, so it's UAB.
We play Pine Bluff, Oklahoma State, then UAB.
Yeah.
Yeah, y'all right though. Because we're doing a preseason football magazine, and I'm doing the SEC, and I finished up Arkansas last week. It is funny. You look at that schedule; it is a little bit like man, that Oklahoma State game kind of sets the tone for the season. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously they could bounce back. There's still like 9 more games after that, but like
And
that kind of seems like the one where it's like,
Well, and Dave, Blake will tell you, we've had this talk for the last 3 or 4 years, that the game that would set the tone for Arkansas every year for the last 3 or 4 years has been who, Blake?
The Aggies, Texas
Yeah,
A&M.
so Texas A&M sets the trend for Arkansas. So this year, I said to Blake that it would not be the Texas A&M game that sets the trend for Arkansas. If we go out and can beat Oklahoma State, what you're going to see is you're going to see a confident Razorback team. But if we lose, you're going to see a team. I'm telling you, you're going to see a team, even with new players. It's just the stigma behind the way things have gone that they go, "Oh no, here we go again."
Yeah, here we go again. Yep.
Correct. It's a big tone setter seat for the season. You're right. It's not they couldn't overcome a loss. It's like you said. I just have a hard time seeing some great year without a win against Oklahoma State.
And that doesn't just weigh on the players. I think ultimately that weighs on the coaching staff.
Yeah.
And
well, especially depending on how it goes. If you're like a no-show either, and it's just kind of like they got after you right from the start, that's tough. Not saying that'll happen. I don't think that'll happen. Yeah. But
and there's
Oklahoma
one.
State,
I think
State's
there's
also one of those teams that are hard to predict. They're so high and low year to year, right?
Oh yeah.
I think the Calipari hire is going to take a lot of heat off of Juracek, because if the football program is not very good this year, he would have caught. I think he's going to be given a little more grace with the reality that we brought in Calipari.
No, you're right. If he would have hired what the rumors were, like let's just say hypothetically, he hired Chris Jans, and like you said, football goes out there and lays an egg, and they're like 4-8 or 5-7. Like you said, Juracek sitting there on the board, like, oh god.
I'm telling you, man. That's why you were asking me, like, how does it affect the whole sport?
Yeah.
Absolutely, it affects everything.
Yeah. Well, I noticed when Cal was going, like, shaking all the coaches' hands in the front row, it's like he didn't really say. He kept that going to Dave Van Horn. He said, "I'm just going to associate with this guy. This guy wins a lot."
This guy wins.
Yeah. Like Jason sent me about Hunter Yurchek. He's going through all the programs, and we're like, well, I wonder what he's going to say for football.
Dude, what year is this for Van Horn? It's like 30.
Oh, golly, man, he's been there since he came in from Nebraska. Golly, like 28 or something.
Yeah,
he's been there forever, dude. I used to go to the SEC baseball tournament every year, and that was probably started back in 01, 02 when I'd go with my dad every year, and he was the coach then.
Yeah, he's been there so long.
Yeah.
What do y'all? Hell, they're kind of running away with the league.
They're sitting there at 11-1 right now.
Yeah, I mean, them in Kentucky. I mean,
this weekend's important.
At Alabama.
And we don't play well.
It's a weird series for Arkansas because Alabama's they're not playing good right now. They just got swept and lost to South Alabama midweek.
Yeah, it's hard for Alabama because we're looking at an Alabama team who lost their best pitcher in the portal to LSU, who also pitched awful against the Razorbacks.
Yeah.
And so I think Arkansas is riding a high right now. They're real confident. I think we've won 20 games in a row.
Yeah, the kid, it's Alabama's. Yeah, they've been mixing it up. It'll be interesting if they put him on Friday or Saturday. The Ben Hess kid.
Yeah.
He's the one. He pitched well against Arkansas on Friday night last year in Fayetteville, but that's where he tore his UCL in that game.
Yeah.
Because what that first game last year, didn't Alabama get after them a little bit?
Yeah, I think we had came back or something like that. Or maybe we got beat. I can't remember exactly what the score was, but Arkansas is not overly impressive at the plate.
Yeah.
But we have 1 through 9. I think we have dudes who just somehow find a way
to get on. I honestly think the leagues, y'all tell me if I'm wrong. I'm going to watch a little bit of Kentucky, Arkansas, Auburn night. Then I think it's Georgia, Missouri. I think the league's a little down.
I think the league's overrated.
Yeah. Like you sit there, like it's not bad. I'm not saying that. I just kind of like, man, outside of Arkansas, I don't know if I trust anyone to get to
Florida has been a major letdown. You're supposed to have how do you say it?
Caglion, Jack Caglion.
Yeah. And they're not doing. I mean, I think they lost 3 to Missouri.
Yeah, Mizzou's the team that's terrible. But I think outside of 2 through 13. I don't think Arkansas can lose to anybody in the league. But like 2 to 13 in the league, it's almost like. Which I guess I keep doubting Kentucky, but Kentucky keeps sweeping everybody.
LSU, they got swept by us and then went and lost to Southern.
I mean, we're going on track. So Arkansas's 1, then I think you got to go Kentucky. I'd probably go Tennessee or Tennessee 3, probably in the league right now.
Yeah, South Carolina's been down. They've been struggling.
Georgia's good at home. They struggle on the road.
Yeah, they got Condon. He can really swing it.
If you get them in Athens,
I forgot about Vandy.
Vandy kind of chips away there. Yeah, Mississippi State's probably better than what they started off. They beat LSU 2 out of 3, and they beat Georgia last week too. The SEC, I think, outside of Arkansas though, a road series is tough for anybody. I think
anybody, right? Yeah. What I would like to see is actually what we've already seen is I was wondering how Arkansas would compete against a top 10 team from outside of the league, and heck, we went toe to toe with Oregon State and beat them with our best arm on the mound. And I'd like to see us, I wish we could play just a non-conference game against a team like Clemson.
Yeah.
Just to see, I know we played Oregon State, but I'd like to play 2 or 3 top 10, top 25 teams non-conference throughout the season. I think we're playing Texas Tech later in the year, but they're not the same Texas Tech.
The scheduling will be interesting next year when they bring in Oklahoma and Texas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But no, that was my question for y'all is how the Cal hire I thought would have. Obviously, it doesn't affect Dave Van Horn, but how it affects the rest of the athletics really.
Oh,
I think.
I didn't even think about A&M baseball. I guess they're pretty good.
Yeah. I think with the boosters, it's going to become like a pissing match of who can donate more money. I'm going to donate $5 million to basketball. Well, I'm going to donate $6 million to football. It's like who's going to be the bigger donor here? Because the Waltons are for football.
Well, it's almost like John Tyson's trying to get his name on the basketball arena.
Yeah, Tyson Arena.
Yeah.
And someone said the other day in an interview, I don't remember who it was. It wasn't a player or a coach, but it was just probably some media outlet that said I'm an Arkansas fan, and I'm probably being a little biased here. But if you think that there's anybody else out there that has more money to give to their program than Arkansas, you don't know the amount of billionaires that Arkansas has.
No, you're right, dude. I was in a group message with some buddies, and we were talking about it. I mean, it's kind of a combination. Because I'm from Mississippi, so it's a mixture of Ole Miss, Mississippi State people in there. And one of the Ole Miss guys was just like, God, Arkansas. It's like one of the Mississippi State guys. Like, I mean, dude, they have Jerry Jones, Tyson, and Walmart, man. Like, yeah, they probably got more money than a lot of teams in the league, if not most. And that's what I brought up. I was like, yeah, dude. I mean, they can win. I mean, they can and have won a national championship in every sport except football.
The crazy part is that you name those 3, and then the 4th one that most folks that aren't from the state of Arkansas that don't know, but Arkansas people do know is, like I said, the J.B. Hunt family, the trucking company. I mean, they all 4 of those groups have so much money. But the thing is why in my mind have I always just assumed that Arkansas can't afford to bring anybody good? You know why I've always assumed that? It's just because we never hire anybody.
Hey, question for y'all. Before I probably for my wife, I'm asking you. I want y'all to know it's a little early to be talking about it, but I know some people don't like to talk about it unless it happens. If something were to happen with Sam Pittman this year, who do you think Arkansas would go hire?
They won't have to go anywhere.
You think Bobby? What do you think? All right, that leads me to my next question. What's the scenario it has to happen for Pittman to get let go? Petrino promoted up. Offense has to be.
Oh yeah, 5.
5 wins.
Oh, you're saying wins. All right, 5 wins with the offense and T-Will and the boys just getting ran through.
And you gone. If you don't make a bowl game this year, you're gone.
Oh, he's gone if you don't go 5. That's why I asked y'all 6 and 6 saves him, which I'm like, I guess technically it's an improvement.
The scenario is anything less than 6, he's gone. That's my guess.
Yep. All right, Dave. Before you go, do you have any Kentucky head coaching updates? We have.
To y'all, it looks like dude. There's no. It's got to be. I could see them circle back to Billy Donovan here.
That's what I thought too. Circle back.
Dude, it just makes no sense. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean,
who would have thought at this point Arkansas fans were freaking out at this point, and now Kentucky fans are freaking out. Who the heck are we going to hire? So, Hey, when you're reaching out to Mark Pope at BYU, are you getting a little desperate?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. I won't believe Mark Pope's actually the head coach. I know he's a Kentucky guy, he's a good player, but I feel like that's just a name. He got himself out there, his name, and now BYU's probably about to go give him some kind. I was like, man, if you're a Kentucky fan and it got down to Mark. And again, I don't fault Michigan. Hell, I was on 100 Your Chick's butt more so than I was. And just if he didn't come up with, I thought from talking to y'all and from other stuff, he messed up the Chris Beard. I was like, oh my gosh, dude! Like all you had to do is almost just don't mess this up. But for Mitch Barnhart at Kentucky, I'm like, all right, if this dude's really flying to stores today and like offering Dan Hurley like $10 million a year, and he says no to that, okay, like I can't really get mad at you then. And then I guess the Bryce Drew or Scott Drew stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy is a very religious. If he felt God told him or his family wasn't comfortable going to Lexington, he built. Hell, I was looking at it the other day. I was like, dude, I totally forgot, man. He's been there since like 2003. I was like, dude, he's been at Baylor since I was in middle. He took over for that whole murder situation with their team back in like the early 2000s.
You want to know the truth? Who I try to go hire? I would find a way if I could pay him enough money. I'd try to hire Kelvin Sampson from Houston.
Yeah, he would be. Yeah, he's a name that never comes up in coaching. It's almost just like people like he's kind of older and he's just kind of fire. I mean, yeah, I think he's essentially the AD in Houston. I mean, I don't think he reports to anybody.
Man, that would be a good fit, I think, at Kentucky, Kelvin Sampson.
Yeah, if he'd want to give up that freedom. Oates would be again. Oates is a little bit like Scott Drew. Obviously, he hadn't won the thing, but like it's a little bit like, dude, you got so much job security there right now. Are you really going to go? And I think Kentucky's like, we like him, but I don't think we want to go pay $18 million a buyout and then go pay him his salary. Another guy that never comes up for their job, and I think I looked it up today, he is a big buyout, is the TJ Otzelberger from Iowa State.
Yeah.
So they may go after him. But I'm with you. I think Billy Donovan's name comes back up here kind of as the Bulls wrap up their season.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked if him and maybe Arizona's head coach name comes
up. People mention Bruce Pearl.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, what's going to happen, right before you – I'm trying not to keep you too long, but what I think is going to happen is they're going to hire someone who's very, very similar to who Coach Cal is and how he ran the program. Talking about like it almost like Coach Cal ran it like an NBA style or a professional style of offense and recruiting-wise. I think that's going to be very similar to who they hire. They're not going to hire a Musselman type, is what I'm trying to say.
No, not at Arkansas. That'd be a little too much.
Yeah. So
also, I mean, think all the guys out there. I mean, even Scott Drew's a little different. He's very quiet. Like the rumor Trilly Donovan was going on out there was that he asked some SEC coaches what it would be like, and he was just like, "Dude, your kids would get harassed at school." And I think he was like, "Nah, I ain't signing up for that."
Yeah, but no, hey man, it's been a while, but I know all three of us really appreciate you taking the time to be with us, and again, I'd like to have you again in the future. And
let's get on next week. Now that we got the swing of the baby in, my day job just went remote, so I have a lot more freedom. So whenever y'all need me.
Yeah. All right, man.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate
it. All right, fellas, it was awesome. Appreciate y'all having me on.
All right, buddy. See you. Take care.
Thanks,
Blake, Jason, I've got to go to work.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap things up here quick.
All right, boys.
All right. Go.
See y'all.
Umpiring?
No, I got some baseball stuff to do, though.
Oh, okay. All right.
Bye.
Have fun.
See ya.
All right. As Ashton gets out of here, okay, we have a spring game this Saturday. It's going to be, according to Pittman, more of a traditional game. Last few years have been more of a scrimmage, so it's going to be more of a like what you used to seeing with the red-white game moving forward. Some can call it the Breakfast Bowl. Apparently, the winning team is going to have this big grand breakfast, and the losing team gets a bowl of cereal.
Well, then it's almost like if you're a University of Arkansas employee and they want you to sign up for Edge, they give you some discount on Slim Chickens.
Yeah. I wonder what the Edge numbers look like now. Since Cal's been.
I don't know. One thing I thought was interesting was that Hunter alluded to that the funds aren't actually secured yet for NIL, which I think he's just saying that. There's no way that Calipari just shows up here without secured
Yeah.
NIL funds.
Yeah, him and John Tyson are close, and I'm sure the money's there. He was just trying to get a little bit more money
He's
from
trying to
somebody.
he's trying to get some more people signed up for Edge
Yeah,
because he doesn't want the fans to think like, oh, they got it.
yeah. So I guess went 53 minutes or almost that hour. So again, spring game coming up. Recruits should be committing soon to the basketball team. So be on the lookout for that. And if you are going to any sports events, please use SeatGeek and use promo code 4Star Sports Media to receive $20 off your order. All right. Any final words?
No, be a good time to use that promotion code for Kyle's first game next year. Be a good time to use it.
And when we play Kentucky will be electric.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyways, follow, subscribe, do all that, and thanks for joining in.